sweetie. Did you just bust down the door? Ophelia doth protest to being kept outside of the room. Hello, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And today, if any of you saw on my community tab on YouTube or on the Twitter sphere, we are doing a self-imposed Q&A. I believe I was going to do a Q&A video a while ago, and for some reason that didn't exactly come into fruition, so here we are now with a bunch more new questions. Thank you to everyone who participated in answering questions or who is just giving some nice encouraging words. That always does wonderful things for my soul, or at least what's left of it. I actually got a little fancy, says y'all know that I film on my phone, so I can't exactly be scrolling through, so I typed everything out. Look at me being on top of things as my world just comes crumbling down around me. That's a question one of y'all should have asked, although y'all probably knew better than to ask this. Are you mentally stable? Not entirely, but that's okay. We're just gonna go on in through this. I am hoping to answer all the questions. There isn't a huge amount, but I do appreciate a lot of the ones that were asked. And in no particular order, we are going to start with, I'm from Virginia. Did you grow up there? Born and raised. I have lived in Virginia all my life. Was born here, was raised here, lived at my parents' house until I was like 26. And then I got married and moved out. So yeah, for all of its whatevers, it's a state that I'm, very familiar with. So if you're wondering about, Soraya's origin story, we were born and raised in Virginia and kind of, well, I'm about 2 hours out from DC, so not sure what that means in the whole interim or whatever, but yeah, yes, this is my state. How did you settle on your current aesthetic? Bold colored hair, eye makeup, etc. Was it something that you picked up naturally, or was there a story there? Honestly, when it comes to my aesthetic, my fashion sense, for the longest time, I wanted to commit so hard to one solid aesthetic. I wanted to be It's Black Friday and be all complete head to toe goth. And then a part of me was like, no, you want to be a kawaii, sweet Lolita doll. And at some point, I just kind of was like, screw it. I'm just going to take what I love from varying different aesthetics and kind of smush them together and create my own thing. I got a lot of flack for it in varying subculture fashion groups because they're like, well, you're not specifically one aesthetic, you're not specifically gothic, and you're not specifically kawaii. Because for me, it just kind of became this thing where I was like, why stick to one aesthetic when there are so many other things out there? There are so many different things that come in and combine and culminate to make up who I am aesthetically. And it's changed and differed over the years. I mean, there are a lot of things that I absolutely love and wear now that there is no freaking way that Soraya from 6-7 years ago, I wouldn't have anticipated me wearing. And honestly, in my fashion sense, who I am now, I'm probably the most who I am, representative physically, because when it comes to fashion and makeup and style and aesthetic, all it is, it's not a costume, it's just an extension of myself, how I see myself. I don't do this because, I don't think I'm pretty without makeup, or I'm not pretty without the whatever. I do it because it's part of who I am. There was a period where I was like, if it's hot pink, glittery, and sequined, I want it. In the same sense of if it's super crazy goth, I want it. I'm like a little fashion magpie. I'm drawn to different elements of varying things, and I guess I'm most heavily influenced by, I would say, gothic fashion, as well as a lot of the Harajuku culture, alternative fashion scene. So yeah, it kind of definitely was a developing thing where it just kind of, the first time I wore a wig it was a cosplay wig that I bought. And I was like, why just wear it for cosplay? I could wear it every day. And then that opened that can of worms. How is your OnlyFans doing? It's doing okay. I mean, I don't have a lot of people there on whatever. I mean, y'all can pimp me out all you want. I'm here for that. And I will pimp you out too. Leave your accounts down below. I will pimp the shiz out of any of y'all if you want it. I think at my high, I had like 14 fans and now I've got like 7. I've got 2 to 3 of them that are pretty consistent in purchasing like exclusive content rather than just being straight up subscribed. So it could be doing better. I feel like the hardest thing about doing OnlyFans is the marketing, because there's only so many times I can put myself on certain platforms. I have an Instagram for it, but that's like I feel like I don't get much traffic in my Instagram because mostly what I get for Instagram, do you want a promo? Do here for a promo, do here for a blah, 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 you know, and all these empty messaging and cold whatever. So the Instagram doesn't seem to be helping. I'm not very good on my OnlyFans Twitter. And there's only so many times I can post a picture of me in a bra on Facebook. I haven't been zucked yet though, so we're still doing okay. So it's okay. It's worth it currently to just keep doing it and all that things, and I've done it for other reasons than just monetary, so there is that. Would you ever make a TikTok? I actually have a TikTok account. It has absolutely nothing on it. Like, there's a part of me that's like, I have all these different interests. Like, I'd love to do a TikTok and do all kinds of cool, fun videos on it. But one thing that I've noticed in creating like content, just straight up, if there's one thing that works really well, it's doing one thing. You know, like if you're a beauty channel, you talk about beauty, or if you're a commentary, you talk more about commentary. And channels and accounts that kind of create varied content don't do very well. And it's not that I'd want to do a TikTok just to like have it do well, but I'm like, is it worth all that extra effort just to kind of be piffed and lost into the atmosphere? I don't know. I have it. It sits there. I have grand dreams of doing all kinds of fun and cool and different TikToks on there, but I have I'm an old person from all the internet, whatever. It would seem that TikTok is like, what, a Gen Z thing or something like that? I'm a millennial and I'm old. I'm 30. I do not know how to use the TikTok, but I do have it with sort of, you know, thoughts and aspirations, and I guess we'll just have to see where it goes in 2021. Where or how did you find the strength, nerve, guts to start an OnlyFans? Honestly, I just said screw it. I mean, my husband knows that if we lived near like a reputable, safe strip club, I would be an exotic dancer. I would be out there in outfits, flipping and twirling and doing all kinds of whatever. I would love to take pole dancing classes, not just because I want to be able to bewitch people with my body, but because I also want to like get some core strength up in here. I've been like, hey, should I start a Twitch stream? Or like, you know, I can do a cam girl. I've kind of always wanted to do the kind of work that I'm doing in the OnlyFans. And so it was sort of me kind of being like, kind of with when I started YouTube, I was like, just stop fussing about it. Stop worrying it. Just do it. Because a part of my problem with starting things out, I feel like I have to be like perfect at them when I start out. So I'm like, I don't want to do it unless I've got like an awesome backdrop and perfect lighting and a photographer and all kinds of stuff like that. You know, when in reality, it's me in the bathroom like, gotta make that money. So it's kind of something that I've always wanted to get into, as well as I did it for sort of kind of conquering and dealing with my own personal issues with my own, I will insert word here. I have no idea what gets things demonetized or not, but sometimes you want to be a little extra careful when you're talking about these things. It's been, I would say, a pretty good experience for me. After I've been on it for a bit longer and I've got more stories stored up, we are going to be having a kind of like my experience with OnlyFans. But it is something that I've been enjoying, and it has actually been helping, as well as the added monetary whatever. You know, I'm not going to say no to that. What is your horoscope sign, and do you believe in astrology? I am a Taurus, and I believe in it just a titchy bit. I am not the well versed in it, as I have a bunch of books that I'm going through and reading, but it is something that I do believe in and that I am trying to gain more knowledge about. If kind of like my witchy whateverness sort of things is something that y'all would like to see on my Patreon, definitely let me know. I am going to be recording my weight loss whateverness on Patreon now, so definitely let me know. Why don't you wear your non-wig hair on camera? And is your accent exaggerated for camera? When it comes to like wearing wigs, mainly under this, some of y'all have seen, if you've seen declutters and some tutorials, I typically don't go the whole 9 yards. For those, well, for tutorials, we're reaching the 9 yards. But for declutters, 9 times out of 10, I'm like, I don't have to be pretty for this. I'm just decluttering makeup. Who cares? But under this, I have got a completely shaved all around, and then I've got hair on top. I've been growing that out, and I've had this haircut for about, I want to say about 3 years now. But one reason why you don't see me kind of all done up like this with my normal hair is I have sometimes issues with the spectrum of my gender identity, where it kind of puts me into this weird place feeling when I have like my more masculine androgynous hair and when I'm trying to be more feminine everywhere else. It kind of gives me a weird sensation. It's not that I don't like my hair, it's not that I don't, but when I'm done up kind of like this, it skews a lot more feminine rather than masculine, and that kind of messes with my internal vision of myself. When I'm going for more androgynous and I'm wearing like my plaid pants with a button up, I'll slick my hair back and kind of pompadour it up and I'll do whatever, but it's a very different look than to how y'all typically see me on camera. I guess I could invest in doing more of those looks on camera for you all, showing that more like masculine side, I guess. It's just kind of one of those things that I don't not like my hair. It's just oftentimes where I see myself visually when I'm planning my looks and things that I'm going to do, it usually doesn't involve my natural hair. And I just love wearing wigs because they're fun and they kind of bring my whole expression to just the next level, I suppose. Oh, and is your accent exaggerated for camera? This is me. I get this a lot. I have a couple people who've told me, oh, you're fake, or you're obviously just doing it for the, I mean, let's be real. Let's be honest. I feel like for a majority of people on this platform, what you see on camera is a naturally exaggerated version of who we are. Not saying that's true for everybody, but for me, like my accents and like all my whatever, that's how I am outside of the YouTubes. But when I'm doing the YouTubes, especially when I get real passionate and heated because my friends have seen it, when we hang out and we get passionate and heated, I basically sound like I do on camera. So it's not exaggerated for camera, it just kind of naturally becomes exaggerated through filming and everything like that. I did have one person comment, was like, well, you were so like different like however many years ago. I'm like, yeah, that was like 6 years ago. I didn't even know who I was then. If you had to declutter all your eyeshadow palettes but only get to keep one, which one would it be? Oh, that's hard. That's ugly. Oh, that's hard. Oh. Never mind, it's not hard. Viseart Grand Pro 3, because I'm sitting here in my mind and I'm like, I can't do Modern Renaissance because that's just red. I can't do the Sydney Grace Danny's Delight bundle because that's just green. And I was like, but Viseart Grand Pro 3 has absolutely everything in it your girl loves. Do you have pets? Yep. I will insert pictures here. I have Ophelia and Sebastian with me. My husband has Coco back in Virginia. When and where did you meet your husband? Well, I met him because I was staying at a friend's house. At the time, me and my friend are still very big weebs. We was into the animes and the mangas and all that sort of thing. And I had slept over at her house and my mom hadn't come to get me yet. And while I was waiting in that interim, a couple of her friends came to her house because they were going to an anime convention, and my husband, David, was one of those people who came up, and I remember him coming through the door, and she had this like little balcony upstairs, and I looked down and I was like, oh, I want one of those. And then I sicked on him with like, do you want a back massage? And it kind of just escalated from there. She completely credits herself to bringing us together, which is kind of true. How did your husband handle it when you would buy everything? I mean, how would anyone's husband or significant other handle that sort of thing? He and I have been married for 4 years. It'll be 5 in 2021. We've been together for over, I think we're coming up on 10 years soon. And he has been really supportive and really understanding through sort of my issues. We're still working through things. We're still dealing with things, but kind of considering what he had to go through, he was dealing with it really well. What is your dream makeup collab or makeup product? I mean, for me, my dream makeup collab would be something with Lunar Beauty. I would just, that like aesthetically, product-wise, a company that I'm 99.99999% behind, where I love 99.999% of their products. I just see that as being like, I mean, so much wonderful, ethereal goodness could be done with that company. I mean, Manny already loves Sailor Moon. I love Sailor Moon. I mean, I feel like taking those two things, me and Lunar Beauty, that would be the ultimate like end all be all aesthetic collaboration that I would love to just yes. If I could collaborate with one company, it would be Lunar Beauty, which is actually kind of funny because if y'all have been with me for a while, your girl hated Manny, and now I'm like, now he's relatively unproblematic and he makes banging makeup. What's your favorite color to work with? I'm just gonna put it out there right now. Y'all probably know it. Green. Nothing but luscious, beautiful, amazing fields of green. Which is kind of funny because I don't identify green as like, oh yes, that's one of my favorite colors. I don't wear it a lot, but put that shiz on my hair, put that shiz on my eyes, my nails, and I am so I love it. Used to be red. Red was my end all be all favorite eyeshadow, but I love green. You all know this. If you've watched my videos, these green wig, green eyes, green everything. I just absolutely adore green, and I need more green eyeshadow palettes because it is my absolute freaking favorite. Do you think you will go more neutral for 2021? Maybe. I mean, I did talk about in 2020 a lot of the neutral palettes that I was loving, but I feel like even when I go neutral, when someone says neutral to me, kind of what that translates to is like lighter, more natural looking makeup, colors found in nature. Whereas when it comes to that, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna use this like yellow shade, and then I'm gonna do this grungy brown, and then we're gonna deepen it up with some black, and we're gonna, yeah, I'll probably have more neutral whatevers, but I am never ever gonna stop doing purple, pink, green, blue. Color is really where my heart of hearts lies, and I have a love and a respect for more neutral looks. I love doing that with some of my peachy wigs and some of my more like natural colored wigs. I think that looks really, really good. But for the bulk of my eyeshadow, typically I go for colorful rather than neutral, although I do believe that a more minimalistic, cleaner, healthier, neutral sort of makeup look is what's going to be trending 2021. But, kind of as for me and my color loving house, I'm just going to be doing, if I feel it, yeah, I'll do neutral. And if I'm feeling puce, I'm going to do puce. Do you ever think you would do some live videos? Yes, I am working on getting sort of a handle on my creative consciousness for 2021, not just for YouTube, but also for Patreon. I am planning several lives for my Patreon talking about CBD and Delta 8 and other things like that. And I also want to schedule, monthly, bi-monthly, just sort of live videos where we can just kind of chat and do whatever and talk about various things. So yes, stay tuned. There are going to be more lives. I have to figure out how I can do them, because in order to do and sustain a live, you've got to have some pretty good internet, and like between like here and Virginia, whatever, I just need to make sure that wherever I decide to do it, whenever I decide to do it, I will have good internet. But definitely keep an eye on the community tab, because I will keep you all posted with dates and everything like that when we do the lives. Do you get discouraged when your subscriber count stays stagnant? Oh, do I? I must admit, one of my downfalls as a creator is my personal frustration with like my creator growth. Like, this is one of the things I really struggle with, because I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I see like the other YouTubers that I love, and I see them getting all hyped up and they're climbing in subscriber count. They're like, oh, I just hit 20, 30, 35, 40, and I'm like, I was 16.2 for a year. And sometimes I get a bit discouraged. You guys have probably seen some of my tweets when I'm like, I'm doing everything wrong, because I'm sitting here and I'm creating my content and I'm putting a lot of time and effort and emotion and whatever into it, and then to see no growth is exceedingly frustrating. I always hate it when people are like, oh, you just want views, you just want, I mean, like, yeah, I use the whatever, no one writes a book hoping that no one reads it. I don't make videos hoping that no one watches them. I love, and I'm so grateful to all of y'all who still do and are consistent and leave comments and are so wonderful and encouraging. But if I'm being 110% realistically honest with myself, I get so frustrated with the stagnation, because I keep trying to do more and I'm not getting really much back. And I do get a bit, like I said, when you see other creators that you love, there's a part of you that's like, I'm so happy, I'm rooting for you, I'm so happy. But then you're also like, what? When am I going to get my growth? What am I doing wrong? That does, I admit, it frustrates me, but it also gets me down sometimes, where I'm like, I feel like some of the creators that I love who are like having these like bursts of like growth, I look at them and I'm like, I feel like they're better versions of me. Like, I'll look at some and be like, oh, well, they do commentary better than me, and in that case they're a better version of me, or they do makeup better than me, so they're it's very frustrating, especially when you've been on the platform for as long as I have, and you're trying and you're going through and you're struggling, and you just don't seem to see the same amount of growth as other creators, and even other creators that are similar to you. Which eyeshadow primer do you prefer? I am currently loving the Milani one. That's the one that I used for my eyes today. I have been using it and it's been really good. I like it a lot more than the Urban Decay one. Now I have learned, several of y'all have come and helped me. You use just a titchy bit of it. Don't be globbing that shiz up all over on your eyelid. But so far I have been really, really loving and enjoying the Milani one. It hasn't disappointed me yet. If you had $500 to splurge on one beauty item, what would it be? I gotta admit, I was sitting here and it's one item, so I was like, $500. What, in my mind, what is the most expensive conceivable item that I would want to splurge on? I was like, would I get a $229 Natasha Denona palette, or one of her $129 ones? Pat McGrath isn't cruelty free, it's just like sitting here trying to think, and then it came to me. If I had $500 to spend on one item, I would buy one item 5 times, and that is the Amore Pacific Hydra Gel something fancy bougie pricey $100 moisturizer that I got free through Octoly, that I now cannot afford to love. But it was such a good moisturizer. The eye cream from the same line, no. That moisturizer, it was texture gone, lines gone, hydration popping. And I just haven't, for the life of me, I have so many other moisturizers that I've got on backup right now. I'm just like, you can buy it, maybe if you use everything else up you have. But if I had $500, I would take my butt right over there and be like, I need that. Because with my whatever's right now, I can't. $100 moisturizer? No. But that's absolutely what I would buy. I would be like, bypass the eyeshadow palettes, bypass the bougie expensive foundation. I'ma need me a moisturizer, because that's probably gonna do me a lot more good than a pricey Tom Ford something. What are your pet peeves in general? What are a few of your favorite things not related to makeup? Okay, pet peeves. I mean, I get very anal when people start touching my stuff and moving my stuff around when I haven't given them permission to. People not making their beds in the morning. That has been a center of kind of warring ideologies between me and my husband for as long as we've been together. I'm like, you make the bed, and it sets the tone for the rest of the day. And he's like, everything is chaos and all will return to chaos. So what's the point? I'm sitting here like, I'm trying to keep a hold of the chaos. I'm trying to not let it. He's like, just let it be. Like whenever I would leave to be for Tennessee and I'd be gone for a couple months and I'd come back and be like, that bed wasn't made once while I was gone, was it? He's just like, no. What's the point? I'm just gonna get into it. Like, I feel like I could state more about my pet peeves, like, in the moment. You know when you're, like, in the moment, you're like, this really freaking annoys me. Oh, I wanna kill you. Maybe that's just me. I got a couple friends where I can think about when it comes to this. I don't know. But, some of my favorite things not related to makeup. Anime, symphonic gothic metal music, Harajuku fashion, manga, dance, singing. I mean, let's see here. We talking about like actual things? Like what are a few of your favorite things? Sailor Moon. Writing. I love writing. I am currently working on 3 different books that I hope to get compiled and completed so they can go be rough drafted and maybe potentially eventually publish. Reading. I absolutely adore reading. I just finished the first book of the Elenium by David Eddings, The Diamond Throne. I'm currently working, rereading Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. Love me some Anne Rice. I love history. I absolutely adore reading historical fiction as well as just kind of like, you know, history. I remember vividly one year at church, some of the gals I was with, they were talking about what they got. Oh, I got makeup for Christmas and I got this. And I'm over there like,
I got a copy of The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich.
Kind of at that point that Soraya realized she was a little bit different than everyone else. I mean, there are a lot of things that I love that go beyond makeup. I kind of want to start doing that on my channel, and especially through my Patreon and other things that I need to get better at, that are just things that I am passionate, that I love. That's kind of the theme of 2021 for me. Screw it. I'm going to do what I want and what I love on my channel. So you're going to see a couple different varied kinds of content from me in the upcoming months. I hope you guys enjoy it. There are just so many different things that I love and that I'm passionate about. Obviously, all my witchy and all like whatever, you know, astrology, tarot, you know, all of those. There's just so many things that make me happy, that kind of come together, that bring me joy and make me who I am. So if y'all are interested in seeing any of that kind of shiz, once again, definitely let me know down below. Like I said, trying to curate a better Patreon, and I have done the update for my weight loss on Patreon, so that link is always down below. I understand for all of you who have stuck with me with my Patreon, thank you so freaking much, because I have done nothing to that poor page. What is your first makeup memory? It's actually kind of, well, I don't know if it's funny or sad, but y'all know that I'm here. Basically, my grandmother, currently, she is in the end of life stage. She's dying. And the first memory that I have that, like, involves makeup, honestly, for me, is her having me up on, like, the sink counter and her fighting with me to get her to put, like, red lipstick on me. And I'm like, what the flip? Why do I have to wear? No, I don't want to wear any red lipstick. And I just remember I was probably like 4 or 5 and just thinking, why do I have to do, why is this a thing? Why are we doing this? So like that is literally my first memory of like any kind of makeup product. I also remember My brother Samuel, for Halloween, he was dressing up as one of the Three Musketeers, and my mom did like little fake facial hair with some mascara she had. So my first memories of makeup actually had very little to do with how I deal my makeup now. What skincare brand would you love to try next? When it comes to skincare, I'm pretty straightforward. I mean, I've tried some things from Drunk Elephant. I'd probably enjoy trying a few more. They're just really kind of pricey. They've got some kind of spray out that I think I wanted to try. I really like their electrolyte water facial cream. I think maybe I wanted to try some of, what's her name? Sunday Riley, I think. But a lot of the skincare companies are not cruelty free, so I'm kind of limited into like what ones I can dip into. But basically, if it's skincare, I'm interested in trying it. Doesn't matter what the brand, if it's cruelty free, if it's whatever. Skincare is something that I really enjoy trying and finding new favorites and finding things that just take my skincare beat to the next level. Cause y'all know your girl is about that healthy complexion. Would you ever come out with a clothing or makeup line? I'm honestly not sure. I feel like Soraya of yesteryear would have wanted to be a fashion designer, and then after reading a couple books about the fashion industry, realized I wouldn't cut it. I read a couple books about Anna Wintour, and I was like, oh boy, I'm not mean enough to be in this industry. Which I honestly feel like that stands true for just a lot of really intense industries like the beauty industry or, the fashion industry. It's a really cutthroat sort of just thing that I am not entirely sure if that's something I would want to invest myself into. I feel like I would probably lean more towards clothing, actually. Like if someone were like, all right, we are going to make for you all the designs that you're going to put out here for us. And I'd be like, okay, do say more. More than if someone were like, oh, we're going to create a makeup line. I feel like a lot of my passion would be channeled better into clothing. I mean, I don't know if y'all have seen what I wear. I'm like a walking, I'm a strange grandma, weird, crazy, plaid, goth, kawaii, I feel like my whatevers are just too divided to really concentrate into one thing. I mean, yeah, if I had the opportunity, I'd probably go for it, but I don't think that's something that I would like, oh yes, I want my life's work to be in a makeup line or in a clothing line. I don't think that's something that, for me personally, I would be the best at. What are some of the weirdest things you've bought during your shopping addiction? I don't know if this is weird, but way too much designer clothes, way too many things I couldn't afford, way too many handbags, way too many pairs of shoes. I'm not sure if there's really anything weird, maybe? I mean, my 7-inch Demonia double stack platforms, maybe? I did buy a 5-foot tall Jack Skellington plush at Disneyland. I bought a couple Sailor Moon Pulip ball jointed dolls for way too much money. Does that count? I'm not entirely sure what connotates weird. I feel like it's not so much weird as there's so much stuff I've bought in excess, so not entirely sure about that one. I want to know how many wigs you own for filming. I don't think I even know. I do have a tendency, for those of you who have been with me for a while, you've kind of noticed my wig game has gotten better and better as I've learned what I like to look for, what to invest in when it comes to buying a good, not freakishly expensive wig. I like lace front wigs. That's this here. You've got this lace here that makes the hairline look a lot more realistic. Not gonna lie, a lot of my wigs come from Amazon because you can get them for $35 and they're really good. And they're basically the same stock from a lot of those other wig companies that charge $100. I'm like, I feel like y'all get your stock from the same people, but you charge in different prices. But I probably have... It's over 50. I know that. I don't think we've breached 100 yet because I do occasionally go through and declutter wigs that I know I don't like anymore, or wigs that are cheap and I have newer, better ones that kind of do the same thing, that are just a better version. I have, because I have some of my wigs here and some still in Virginia. Probably around the 75 mark. Updates on shopping addiction. I feel like this is going to need a new video of itself. We did pretty good in 2020, end of 2020. Not the best. We're continuing low buy into 2021. I haven't purchased anything makeup wise yet. There are 3 palettes that I want to purchase for reviews: the Kaleidos Club Nebula palette, as well as the 2 artistry palettes from Midas Cosmetics, but that's really the only thing I have my eye on right now. This year I will be keeping a much tighter look at my funds so that I can actually make reports to you all and be like, okay, it's been however many months into 2021 and I've spent $150, you know, that type of thing, that I do want to get really better so I can take better control and have better stock of what I'm spending. And honestly, the low buy has been really great. It's been able, like, your girl, the Anastasia highlighter came out and the Natasha Denona holiday highlighter came out. I didn't buy neither of them and I wanted to, but I was like, you got highlighter at home. So I felt very proud of myself for not. So I will be doing a more concentrated shopping addiction update, but for right now, I would say I'm doing pretty good. Not the best, but we're working on it. I will be doing a more updated video. If you could do a collab with any brand, who would it be and what would your collection look like? Well, we discussed, if I could, it would be Lunar Beauty back in the day. Probably would have been Jeffree Star Cosmetics or Kat Von D, but we're living in the 21st century, so Lunar Beauty. And honestly, when it comes to the collection, like, I know that he doesn't do, like, he's got the Moon Prism blush palette and the Moon Prism highlight. You know, we've got shades of Sailor Moon going on up in here. And I would love to do like a dark lady inspired themed sort of collection that was like very witchy and very like, you know, still pinky and purpley and dark, kind of like the aesthetic I'm going for right here. I would love to have that. I'd love to have like an eyeshadow palette, a face palette, some liquid lipsticks, some glosses. You know, I think it would be so much fun to do kind of like a dual isn't the right word, but like Dark Lady from Sailor Moon, and then having like Sailor Moon elements, you know, kind of like a light and dark combination there. I don't know. I just think it would be really fun, you know, because that's like, you know, going, you know, I know he's already done the one like witchy palette. Maybe if we could kind of expand on that sort of theme and add like an anime element to it. I feel like he's got a good creative mind on the head on his shoulders, so I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm not entirely sure what the collection would look like because it doesn't exist, but I would like something that's very true to me, you know, something that's got a lot of color to it, that's very vampy, alternative. So if any of y'all have any ties to like Manu MUA or Lunar Beauty, drop your girl's name. What is your favorite palette that you've owned for over 2 years? Probably, let's see here, 2 years. I probably have to say Modern Renaissance or Soft Glam. I think I've owned those for a pretty long time, at least 2 years, because I remember when the Soft Glam came out, that was sort of at the beginning of my grandfather needing to be taken care of. I actually filmed that review here. So it would probably have to be Modern Renaissance or Soft Glam. I'd love to see a what's in my bag video. I do have one of those down on my channel already. It was a sponsored video, even though I never actually got my money, but you know, that's sometimes how it goes, I feel. But I thought about doing a new one. If that's something that y'all are interested in seeing, I will look into that. I will also leave the other one down below. What is your husband like? Very simple, very plain, a very simple man with very simple wants and needs. Does he have a similar aesthetic? Absolutely not. My husband has probably had the same aesthetic since he was like 15. You know, the dude wears jeans and band t-shirts. I mean, he likes other things, but he's not the type of person who, like for me, I'm like, I see a dress and it's $100. I'm like, yes, worth every single penny. And he sees a shirt that's like 12 and he's like, not so sure about that. So he likes other things. He's kind of drawn to them. He would kind of like to think that he's some kind of awesome sauce Viking whateverness. Hasn't exactly committed to the visual aesthetic. So he and I, like aesthetic and look wise, are like worlds apart from each other. There have been times where we've gone out and it literally just looks like this dude taking his escort out to dinner. I'm like, what's up? It's kind of a funny dichotomy because I'm very out there, you know, I'm just like, what's it? You know, just put everything out there. Whereas he's much more reserved, much more chill, much more grounded, you know, he's not as like, woo, flighty or whatever it is that I am. Is he still in Virginia while you're with your grandmother? Yep. He is currently in Virginia with living at his sister's while we are kind of in this in-between interim of me helping, me doing this, us getting our own place. It's kind of a whole different level of complicated, but I think we'll make it through. I think we're doing okay. When did you discover that you loved makeup? Honestly, probably because like I feel I was like much more into style before I was into makeup. Like there was a period of my life where I was really hardcore into fashion, designer fashion. I bought like InStyle and like Elle and all the like fashion, people's fashion, whatever, you know, all those magazines. I paid attention to like, ooh, this is the trend for this. And I was very invested in buying designer things. And I was Chanel and Yves Saint Laurent, Michael Kors. And then like I would do my makeup for conventions. And like I said, when I first started wearing wigs, it was a cosplay wig. And I feel like that's kind of the pivotal moment for me when I started wearing wigs and when I kind of took that, like, instead of applying makeup on me like for conventions, I was like, well, what if I took this artisticness and unleashed it on my face? I mean, and y'all have seen on Twitter, I've posted a couple, I was like, oh, this is how I did my makeup 5 years ago. So we've had a lot of growth, we've had a lot of development, but I feel like that's really when I started turning towards those artistic means as a way to express myself, as a way to sort of showcase to the world how I wanted to be seen. And it took me a while to get like this. I remember I was like totally smitten by a lot of the like super like those creators. Like I remember going through like Adora Bat Brat and Victoria Lovelace's Instagram and being like, I wish I could be as aesthetically pleasing as them. And then I reached a point where I was like, why am I like holding myself to wanting to be them when I could just be my own version of aesthetically pleasing? I'm going to be my own visual goals, thank you very much. So that really is like the turning point for me in like kind of, and you may see it in like my YouTube, because if you look at some of my earlier videos, I'm like, hi, how are you doing? You know, welcome to my channel. And now I'm just all like, what's up, y'all? How it doing? I'm definitely much more assured in myself in who I am. If you had to pick a style aesthetic that wasn't goth or emo, what would it be and why? So goth and emo kind of cover a wide breadth of different fashion subcultures. So I would probably have to go with like kawaii Lolita Dolly style. That's one of like a style aesthetic that I've been like really drawn to, but I don't dip into nearly as much as sort of a mixture of both of them, where I'll do like really dark but like a pink wig. You know, I don't really go the whole bubblegum princess 9 yards as much as I used to. So I feel like if I couldn't be dark and whatever, I would then be soft and sweet like princess ruffly dresses all the time. Ooh, I could also go grunge. Like I would have a lot of fun just doing like 90s grunge fashion. That would be so 90s grunge fashion or Lolita Kawaii princess. Ah yes, the two genders. I love this one. This one was in all caps. Can we please see a picture of your husband? Please. Here's a picture. My husband, he absolutely hates having his picture, despises it with a fiery passion. So the picture here, which I haven't decided yet, is probably going to be a disgustingly outdated one, but I kind of don't have a lot of stuff to choose from. And then last but not least, what do you think will be the next big trend in the coming year for makeup, and are you looking forward to it or dreading it? Don't know if the video is out yet, but in my video talking about the best brands moving forward into 2021, I discussed that I feel like for 2021, a very popular look and a very popular sort of makeup aesthetic that's going to emerge is a more minimal, fresh-faced, kind of basic, simple eyes, but where the focus is really on the complexion. I think we're just gonna have some more natural, some softer, you know, very glowing, very dewy, very healthy, sort of an emphasis on just like a healthy and beautiful, radiant, glowing complexion, more than we are like the Instagram brows, the cut crease, the Kylie Jenner lips. Well, there will probably still be elements in that. I do see with some of the brands that are popping up that are being really popular, really hyped up, their brand aesthetic sort of lends itself to that more minimalistic look. Well, those are all the questions that y'all gave me. I actually had a lot of fun doing this. It's kind of a really simple video to do where you're just like, just sit here and answer questions. I know y'all express kind of on varying different times that you're just like, we want to know more. There's this one gal that I like. I love her. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. I can't remember your real name. I feel like a terrible person. But she said on multiple occasions, I want to see everything. I'm nosy. And I can respect that. I feel like part of the reason we love YouTube so much is that we are all a certain level of voyeuristic. We are all at some level nosy and voyeuristic. We like seeing how other people live their lives. So definitely drop down below what kind of content you would like to see going forward. 2021, it's the year of screw it. I'm just doing it. But thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every single one of y'all. And as always, keep it real. Mwah!